Hello there everyone, so welcome. Today I'll be reviewing the Harad faction, which I'm already playing, but still I'll make the faction overview nevertheless. So since I already know a little bit of the faction, allow me to say it's quite a long campaign, let's say medium to long. It depends on how well Mordor attacks Gondor, or even how well things go for you. Now, you do require a ministerial thing, that's the problem with the campaign, let's say, because you gotta avoid Mordor taking it out before you. And overall, you start with a very good starting location. I mean, you have lots of units that you can support, have lots of forts nearby. You can have some early picks. It's awesome in that location. So it's a very safe location. And additionally, you're actually the best faction to get on Karagmir, just because of this small unit here. These Moolaade Beastmasters, they're very effective against the Mumakill that are on Karagmir, so you can take it out pretty easily. And I actually managed with just a couple of units and just build a couple more units to be sure. But you are the best faction to take that. It's a very safe one. So in terms of that, of course, you require ministerial. Let me show you. Require to destroy Gondor and Dol Amroth. Pretty sure you're not going to do that in that order. You're probably going to do as I did and go for Dol Amroth first, and then go for Gondor. Additionally, it's one of the best factions to betray Mordor, I would say, because at the point that you are here in Gondor, you already have a lot of power, and you can actually betray. I was trying actually to betray that on my campaign. I was trying to go for Umbar. It's also a very interesting idea to take them out early. So do note that you can always do that as well. Now you have a good Cavorite Races. I think you have kind of like the. Let's talk about the units a little bit. You probably have about the best medium cavalry in the Southern Lancers, or one of the best. I mean, I really like it. Very low upkeep there. It's really awesome. You also have the Haradrim Raiders. It's just interesting that you have good options, let's state, and then you still have options for the Variag units. So it's just lots of medium to light cavalry options. It's really cool. You also have the Moolaade Beastmasters, which they are effective against armor. It's just awesome to use these guys. I really like them, as well as the Camel Riders to just scare the horses a little bit. Then you have the Serpent God, which inspires nearby troops. This is also something that's so often overlooked, and it's always awesome to have an army that doesn't rout easily. And then you have the Serpent Archers, a very heavy, or let's say medium to heavy cavalry unit with a good missile attack. By the way, they still don't have the best range there, but they're really nice. I mean, even the Moolaade Beastmasters, I would consider having more of these guys because of that missile attack. I mean, 5 missiles, like I told you, 1 unit of these guys, it's enough to kill off a Mumakill unit if they are not engaged by them. Do note a little bit on the recruitment costs and upkeep. It's a little bit high, I would say, but you can still be fine because you will have a lot of money. By the way, we'll talk about that. So you also have, in terms of the barracks, you have a very good choice of spearman units. With the Southern Warband, these are very good units to delay any cavalry. They can fight even against the heavy cavalry a little bit. The Southern Pikemen, just put these guys in front of everything. They'll do the job, trust me. And then you still have units that are amazing against mounts. On the Trollmen Warriors and the Trollmen Hunters. Sure, they are expensive, but they do have the 2 hit points, and they can survive most of cavalry charges. I've seen that, and it actually just helps out so much that you have a unit that usually, these are the units that you would send after the line of pikes is engaged, that you will send forth. It's just so awesome that they are actually skilled against mounts. So any foolish horseman that will reach your pike lines will get destroyed so fast. I mean, then you still have the Moolaade Tribesmen, one of the best units to have. They're often overlooked in melee, because of 613, but it's still a very good very decent. I mean, this is the basic militia unit of many plays, of many factions, and you still have the javelin, and you're still effective against armor. I mean, and skill against mounts. It's never a bad thing to have a couple of these guys on your army. Later on, you can also get some Ashari, which can hide anywhere. Their skill against mounts. Again, you have so many units so far. I think there's none. Yeah, there's none. The first one that is not effective against mounts is the Serpent Bladesman. So the Ashari, they're still also skilled against mounts. The upkeep is a little bit high, but you'll notice that overall the upkeep is kind of high. I would say that the best thing about these guys is that you can hide anywhere, so they're perfect to have a couple of units of those in armies, even 3 or 4 if you would like, just to flank out the enemy and then charge them from behind. It's just awesome. And of course, you still have the Serpent Bladesman. These are basic armored blade units. The attack of 12, it's very interesting. Most of them reach the 10 and 11. These guys are really good hacks and slashers, but they cut off a little bit of the defense. Of course, they're very expensive. If this was 390 or 360, they would be much better. I would prefer them. Unfortunately, like you've seen, there's no anti-armor unit. However, versus anti-armor, you do have lots of javelin units, so it kind of offsets that. Now let's check out the ranges. So, you do have some southern archers, which are really cool. You know, you have missile attack of 4 with the basic stuff. Now this is a very average unit that you'll be for sure using in your battles. And then you have the Ashari Shadows, which can hide anywhere, can use sharpened stakes. They also have an 190 meters high accuracy missile attack of 7. It's really good. It's kind of like a medium archer of the elves, let's say. They're not that upgradable, but they will do really nicely on melee once you send them to attack, which is also a good thing to have. Now let me see. Of course, you are the faction. You're not the only faction that has access to Mumakill right now, but you are the faction that should get them as much, the more that you can. I mean, always have 1 unit of these guys in your armies. It's just awesome. Do note that you have medium cavalry, so if the enemy has heavy cavalry, you just send them to Mumakill in. They'll rip them apart, and then you own the battlefield with your lots of numbers of medium cavalry. So it's always awesome to have these guys. Additionally, of course, you still have the Haradrim Spearmen and the Haradrim Archers. Of course, the Haradrim Archers, you shouldn't get too many of these guys. They're very low, but they're still better than the other guys' counterparts. I mean, usually the units on the farms are just to offset some early game deficiencies, and it's good that you have a spearman unit and an archer unit. Very uncostly, let's say. So it's quite nicely, I would say. I like that idea. I still build a couple of them. Now let's go. What do I have as well? I have the Shrines of Melkor. Oh yeah, you have the Varian units. We've been through them, but basically I would always include as much as I could the Nomad Warriors? No, the Nomad Axemen. No, so there you go. There you have an effective against armor unit, and just make sure that you use that as effectively as possible. Then you'd get the Brotherhood of the Axe, and even the Brotherhood of the Sword. So that will make it, you know, your final end game army. I think that in terms of the overall mix of Harad units, you lack the heavy units until you reach this point, until you have the Varying Encampment with the Brotherhood units, which is really awesome, of course. Now I noticed that I actually wrote that I have excellent mercs here. Why do we have excellent mercs? Because the Haradrim mercenaries is considered a merc unit, and you're effective against armor as well. So you will never be out of units against all roads or against all types of units. An additional thing is that you actually don't have to deal with anything like trolls, unless you betray Mordor, but you don't have to deal with anything very difficult. You don't have to deal, let's say, with high numbers of cavalry. You don't have to deal with very you know, with Mumakill. You don't have to deal with trolls. You don't have to deal with elves. You know, pretty much you're just dealing with human factions that have good units, but you're pretty much prepared for that. Now, in terms of finances, of course, you have Ankaramir. And you also have the caravan stock, which is, it's amazing. Build them on every single place and you'll love that. You also have some mines in some places. Let me show you the best ones. Yeah, you also have in Korandaj, which is here. And if I'm not mistaken, there's a best place for that as well. I know that I have plenty of mines, because I actually wrote it here. Alright, so you don't have more than that one that provides 330. I would build that immediately, and then just go for Ankaramir, which has the best mine there. As soon as you capture that place, pretty much, as you've seen on my campaign, everything is cool. You can also capture most of the early picks here. You know, you're in the best position to do so because of this army, this general, and that's often what I would advise you to do. It's your decision whether you want to betray Harad or not. Just note that you can actually request peace with both of these factions. Dol Amroth and Gondor will sue for peace. Dol Amroth is a little bit more difficult. You kind of have to defeat a couple of armies for them to go with, but Gondor actually can get you can get peace with them, so it's really interesting to do. Now you have the last thing that I would like to talk about. You have very interesting generals because not all of them are the same. I'll explain. This faction leader is the basic unit. You know, your Black Snake God, which is your heavy cavalry unit. Of course, I hadn't talked about this. Your cavalry units are just so great because of this. Look at the upkeep. It's so low. It's one of the lowest cavalry unit or heavy cavalry unit upkeep that you have, and they are skilled against mounts, so you can kill lots of Gondor generals with these guys. It's really awesome. Additionally, of course, with the special abilities and the fact that this is a very good guy in command. Now, let me show you, because not all of them are the Black Snake Guard. This one actually is. Yeah, there we go. There we go, with the interesting guys. So you have a unit of Hashari here on this General Pathan. And you also have a unit of, if I'm not mistaken, these are archers, right? Yeah, you also start with a unit of Hashari Shadows with this general, which is really interesting to see. The rest is all black snake guards. No. And additionally, you also start with this general, which is a Trollman Warriors. So you start with some interesting units and very spread out units. Do note that, you know, you don't have to worry about attacks from the Barracks in the beginning. Only until much later, when you're very close, maybe they will try to attack you or something. Do note that you start just with a spy. He's actually in a very good place. I would send it immediately to Ankaramir and just build another one to go to the north. So there's a lot of options for Harad, that's what I consider, but overall it's a very easy faction. It's certainly one of the best to betray Mordor with, just because, you know, against trolls you can send Mumakill, by the way, and Mumakill just rip trolls completely. They just kill them really fast, and trolls don't kill them as fast. If you want to check that out, just make a custom battle with Mumakill against trolls. I think they can actually kill like 3 or 4 units of Ologai or something. Like one unit can kill 3 or 4 of Ologai or something like that. So yeah, that's it for the Harad tribes. It's certainly a very interesting faction. A little bit of a long campaign, but it's actually one of the campaigns that I would say that I would love to continue. That I would love to go against Rohan, that I would love to go against Mordor and conquer almost all the north, or behind this fork line of mountains, you know. I would like to own all of that. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next faction overview. Bye bye.